The Galactic Hall of Concord was the largest chamber ever built in the known stars. It floated in the middle of neutral space, a shining sphere of crystal and steel surrounded by the banners of 1,000 civilizations. Inside, light beams crossed the dome, showing symbols of peace, unity, and treaties that had lasted for centuries. Yet, for all its beauty, the atmosphere was tense. Every alien leader, diplomat, and officer knew this was not just another council meeting. It was supposed to be the final peace talk with Earth. The humans arrived late, as they always did, not because they were careless, but because they understood how to use silence and waiting as weapons. When the great doors opened, the human delegation stepped inside, only 4 figures in dark uniforms. They walked slowly, their boots echoing on the floor, their expressions calm, but their eyes sharp. The entire chamber fell silent, as if the air itself waited. The lead alien speaker, a tall creature with silver scales and 6 eyes, began the session. "Humans of Earth," he said, his voice amplified across the hall. "The galaxy desires peace, but peace requires sacrifice. You must give up your weapons, your fleets, your hidden technologies. Only then will the Council allow your species to exist among us." Murmurs of agreement rose from the alien seats, but the humans did not move. They did not nod. Not even a word escaped their lips. The silence stretched on, becoming heavier with every second. Some aliens shifted in discomfort. Others hissed in frustration. Everyone expected the humans to object loudly or to argue, or at least to defend themselves, but they did nothing, and that was worse. Finally, the human ambassador, a woman with dark hair tied back and eyes like steel, leaned forward. Her voice was calm, steady, and quiet, yet every corner of the hall could hear her. "You speak of peace, Shah," he said, "but what you offer is surrender. You speak of unity, but what you demand is chains." The words cut through the air like a blade. Some alien leaders shouted, others protested. One counselor slammed his clawed hand on the table, declaring, "If Earth does not obey, Earth will be destroyed." The translator systems carried his threat across the chamber, and thousands of alien eyes turned to watch the humans' reaction, but the humans did not flinch. Instead, the ambassador raised a small device and placed it on the table. A hum filled the air, and then a holographic projection appeared above them. It was a recording, a secret transmission between council leaders, their voices clear, undeniable. The aliens in the recording were laughing, mocking Earth, planning to use peace talks as a trap. "Let them disarm," one voice sneered. "And when they are weak, we will finish them." Gasps spread through the hall. Some aliens jumped to their feet, shouting denials. Others stared at the council leaders in shock. The betrayal was revealed, and it could not be hidden. The chamber descended into chaos. Through it all, the humans remained still. The ambassador waited until the noise faded. Then she spoke again, her words sharp as ice. "Peace is broken," she said. "Not by us, but by you. And broken peace has a price." The chamber froze. Every alien felt the weight in her voice, the chill in her tone. It was not anger, not shouting, not rage. It was something far worse. Calm certainty, the kind of certainty that comes only from strength. One alien general, his armor glowing with energy, stood and pointed at the humans. "Do not threaten the council," he roared. "We control the stars. We have fleets beyond counting. You are nothing but one small world." The ambassador turned her eyes on him, steady, unblinking. For a moment, the general faltered, as if a cold wind had passed through his heart. Then she leaned closer to the device and pressed a second command. The hologram shifted, showing images not of alien betrayal this time, but of something else. Ships. Human ships. The chamber was still in silence. The projection of Earth's hidden fleet glowed above the delegates, silent giants floating in the darkness of space. No alien leader spoke. No general dared to rise again. But then, from the far corner of the hall, one alien broke the silence. He was Chancellor Vaynar, a member of the Inner Council, his skin a pale blue, his voice sharp and angry. "This is a trick," he shouted. "The humans lie. They cannot have built such ships without us knowing. Our spies would have reported it." His words echoed, but they sounded weaker than he intended. The hologram continued to pulse, shadows of weapons never before seen casting fear into every eye. The human ambassador did not answer. Instead, she pressed the device once more. This time, the recording was clearer, sharper. The council's own words spilled out across the chamber again, but now with names, dates, and voices so familiar that even the most loyal followers could not deny it. The recording showed Vaynar himself laughing in secret with other council leaders. "We'll make them believe in peace," his voice sneered, "and when they drop their guard, we'll crush Earth in one strike. The galaxy will never again fear humans." The hall erupted, gasps and shouts filled the space. Dozens of alien representatives turned toward Vaynar with fury. Some accused him of dishonor, others hissed in disgust. But most of all, there was fear. If the council had lied, if the humans had caught them in betrayal, then what else had Earth discovered? Vaynar's voice cracked as he tried to recover. This is falsified. A human trick. They want to divide us." But his trembling hands betrayed him, and the council knew the truth. The humans had not lied. The betrayal was real. The human ambassador's eyes never left Vaynar. Her words came slowly, each one heavy with meaning. "Your lies have broken peace. Your threats have ended trust. Do you think Earth will bow now? Do you think humanity will forgive?" The question cut through every species present. Forgiveness. A word humans had once offered freely, but now it sounded like a threat. The silence that followed was worse than shouting, worse than war cries. It was the silence of predators before they moved. Suddenly, alarms rang out across the chamber. Council guards rushed in, weapons raised. They pointed them not at the humans, but at Chancellor Vaynar and his allies. The betrayal was too obvious, the shame too heavy. But even as Vaynar was dragged away, he screamed, "You don't know what they are hiding. You don't know what humans truly are. If they rise, all of us will fall." His words left a chill behind. Some delegates believed him, others dismissed him, but the humans did not argue. They didn't need to. The ambassador pressed the device again. This time the hologram shifted, showing something far more terrifying. Not just ships, not just weapons, but data, records of human advancements, technologies that twisted the laws of physics, engines that could fold space in ways alien science said was impossible, weapons that could silence an entire fleet with no trace, and something else, hidden deep, blurred as if Earth itself did not want to show it clearly. The galaxy had always believed humans were behind, weaker, scrambling to catch up. But now they saw the truth. Humans had never been behind. They had been building in silence, hiding in shadows, preparing for the day when betrayal would come. A nervous voice broke the silence, a delegate from the fragile Chiron Republic. "If this is true, then the galaxy cannot fight Earth. We must surrender before it is too late." Another voice shouted back, a warlord from the Targath clans. "No, if we kneel now, they will rule us all. Better to strike first, better to die free. Than live under humans." The chamber exploded in argument. Factions shouted at each other, claws and tendrils waving, weapons drawn by guards. The once united council now splintered into chaos. Some wanted to beg Earth for mercy. Others wanted to call every fleet to arms. Through it all, the humans sat in silence. Not a word, not a smile, not a single movement, and that silence was more terrifying than any threat. Finally, the ambassador rose from her seat. Her eyes swept across the hall, her voice steady and cold. "You wanted peace on your terms. You wanted Earth to kneel. You wanted to break us, but remember this. You did not come to our world. We came to yours, and now you will face the answer you demanded." Every alien froze. They did not know what the humans would do next, but they knew one thing. Fear had already spread like fire across the stars. The ambassador lifted the device once more, and a final message appeared in burning letters across the chamber. It was not translated, not softened, not hidden behind symbols. It was in human language, sharp and clear. It read, "Peace is broken. Prepare yourselves." And as the words glowed, the chamber lights flickered. Alien ships in orbit reported strange malfunctions. Engines failed, weapons shut down, sensors turned blind. Panic spread because everyone knew. Humanity had only pressed the first button. The council chamber was still in chaos. Alarms echoed through the massive hall. Alien guards ran in every direction, and frightened diplomats shouted at one another. Yet the humans remained calm, seated as if they already knew what was about to happen. Then suddenly, every light in the chamber flickered and died. For the first time in centuries, the Hall of Concord fell into darkness. Gasps filled the air. Some species hissed in fear. Others raised weapons blindly, but when the emergency lights came back, a new image had appeared above the chamber. It was not from the council systems, not from the hall projectors, it was from the human's device. And what it showed made the galaxy shiver. A lone human warship floated in deep space. It was small compared to alien fleets, a single shadow against the endless stars. Yet the moment it appeared on the hologram, alien ships orbiting outside the council station began sending frantic messages. Unidentified vessel detected, approaching fast, systems unresponsive, requesting orders. Inside the hall, every delegate turned toward the human ambassador, but she did not speak. Instead, she raised one hand slow and deliberate, as if giving a signal. And then it began. Alien fleets stationed around the council space were considered the most secure in the galaxy. Hundreds of warships stood ready to protect the meeting. But as the lone human ship moved closer, their systems began to fail one by one. Engines shut down, shields collapsed, weapons went cold, massive cruisers floated helplessly, powerless like prey before a predator. Panic spread, commanders shouted orders, technicians tried to restart systems, but nothing worked. Every screen showed the same error. Blank silence, as if the ships themselves refused to move. Back inside the chamber, the human ambassador finally spoke. "This is not war," she said calmly. "This is a reminder. We will not strike first, but if you dare to strike us, this is what awaits you." Her words were quiet, but they cut through the hall sharper than any weapon. The projection shifted again, showing the human warship firing. Not with beams or missiles, but with something stranger. The stars around it bent. The fabric of space rippled like water. And then an entire alien escort fleet vanished. Not destroyed, not exploded, simply erased. One moment they were there, the next, they were gone. The hall erupted in screams. Some aliens fell to their knees, others shouted in rage, but no one could deny what they had seen. This was not a weapon. They understood this was something beyond their science, beyond their imagination. A council general tried to stand, his voice shaking. "You cannot use such power. It breaks every treaty. It breaks." News traveled faster than light. By the time the human ships left council space, the entire galaxy already knew what had happened. Every system, every empire, every outpost whispered the same words. The humans have awakened. On the core worlds of the Zalari Dominion, civilians crowded into the streets to watch the broadcasts. They saw the recordings of alien fleets turning dark, weapons failing, ships vanishing in silence. Children asked their parents why the humans had such power, but no one had an answer. In the frozen colonies of the Targath clans, warriors pounded their fists in anger. Some demanded war at once, but others, older and wiser, looked at the reports and shook their heads. "You cannot fight shadows," one clan leader muttered, "and you cannot fight silence." In the glittering towers of the Vaith Confederacy, their leaders gathered in secret. Fear dripped from their voices. "They showed only 10 ships," one whispered. "What if they have 100, 1,000? Another shook in denial. Impossible, no world could build so much in secret. But deep down, even they knew the truth. The humans had hidden their strength for decades, and no one had noticed. Everywhere across the stars, panic grew. Markets collapsed, fleets scrambled, spies were sent racing toward Earth, but most returned with nothing. Human space was sealed, satellites blinded, scouts erased, fleets lost without a trace. The more the galaxy searched, the less they found, and that was worse than open war. Back in the council chamber, the arguments raged for days. Some leaders demanded surrender, others demanded attack, but no agreement could be made because fear divided them faster than any weapon could. Ambassador Thalos of the Chiron Republic rose with trembling hands. "We cannot win this. The humans hold the stars in their grasp. I beg you, send envoys, kneel if we must. It is better to live under earth than to die in silence." His words drew shouts of fury. The warlord of the Targath slammed his blade against the floor. "Coward," he roared, "better to burn than bow." But even his voice cracked when he remembered the holograms. Even he had seen fleets vanish into nothing. The humans themselves remained silent. No further messages came, no demands, no ultimatums, no threats, and that silence was worse than any war cry. Across the galaxy, fear began to take new shapes. Rumors spread that Earth had built weapons that could erase suns. Others claimed humans had bent time itself, that they could strike an enemy before the battle even began. None of it was confirmed, but every rumor grew into terror. On the trade world of Zaira, a merchant shouted in a crowded market, "I heard Earth only sent 10 ships because more would have broken the stars." His words spread like fire. On the mining colonies of the Vale, workers whispered that Earth had created soldiers who never slept. Every story was more terrifying than the last, and the humans never denied any of them. For Earth, silence was the sharpest blade. For the galaxy, imagination was the cruelest prison. Meanwhile, in hidden chambers deep beneath alien capitals, some leaders began to panic in secret. Encrypted messages flew across the void. What if we strike now before they send more? What if we unite every empire and attack together? But the more they planned, the more their fleets faltered. Every time a plan was drawn, strange malfunctions struck. Ships exploded in dockyards, generals vanished, factories burned. It was as if Earth already knew every move before it was made. Some began to whisper a darker thought. What if the humans are not playing defense? What if they are already attacking, slowly, silently, without us even knowing? That thought broke many leaders, for how do you fight an enemy who strikes without firing, who wins without war, who controls the stars themselves? In the shadows of the galaxy, rebellion stirred. Small species, long crushed under council rule, began to rise. If Earth was this strong, maybe it was safer to side with them. Flags of resistance were raised on distant moons. Cries of freedom echoed, and every one of them whispered the same name: humanity. The council grew desperate. Meetings stretched long into nights, voices hoarse with fear. Finally, one desperate leader slammed his hands down and shouted, "If we cannot defeat Earth, then we must erase them before they rise higher. We must strike at their homeworld itself." The chamber froze. The suggestion was madness, but desperation made it tempting to strike Earth directly, to destroy humanity at its root. It was a gamble that could either save the galaxy or doom it forever. But none of them noticed. High above, hidden deep in the council's own systems, a human signal was already watching. Every word spoken, every plan whispered, every secret thought recorded. And far away, on Earth, commanders read those messages with cold eyes, for the galaxy thought they were still deciding. But humanity already knew their choice. The galaxy was burning with fear. Every world, every empire, every council chamber whispered the same words: strike Earth before it is too late. But deep in their hearts, they already knew it might already be too late. On the frozen moons of the Targath clans, warriors trained in silence. On the jewel worlds of the Vaith Confederacy, factories worked without rest. On the core stations of the Dominion, fleets gathered in the dark. Billions of lives prepared for war. Yet no one truly believed they would win, because Earth had not spoken since the council meeting. Earth had not threatened, not demanded, not moved, and that silence was heavier than 1,000 fleets. Then, without warning, the silence broke. A signal, faint but clear, spread across the stars. It was not encrypted, not hidden, not disguised. It was human, open for all to hear. The message was simple: watch. And the galaxy obeyed. Across a dozen star systems, alien fleets froze as strange energy fields surrounded them. Sensors screamed, navigation collapsed, weapons went dead, entire armadas were trapped in space, powerless. The broadcast spread instantly, showing every world what was happening. Billions of alien eyes stared in horror as the feed continued. At the center of the projection, a new human ship appeared. Unlike anything seen before, it was not built like a vessel, but like a shadow of a star itself. Its surface shifted like liquid metal, glowing with patterns that changed every second. Alien scientists gasped in disbelief. This is not possible. This ship bends physics itself. The human voice returned, calm, steady, terrifying. You threatened our world. You planned betrayal. You dreamed of conquest. Now see what Earth has built while you watch the stars. The ship moved, not with engines, not with thrust. It folded space itself, sliding across the void like a ghost. In a blink, it stood before an alien fleet of 200 ships. In another blink, those ships were gone. Not destroyed, not shattered, not burning, gone. Gasps turned to screams. Leaders watching the feed demanded answers. Where did they go? What happened to them? But no one could explain. The ships had simply vanished into silence. The human voice spoke again. This is not your science. This is not your war. This is what humanity calls the null drive. A weapon that does not strike. A weapon that does not burn. It only erases. The galaxy shivered at the word. Erases. Whole fleets wiped away as if they had never been born. No wreckage, no survivors, no trace, only silence. The ambassador's voice carried across the broadcast grew colder. We do not seek your worlds, we do not seek you, or crowns. We do not seek your slaves, but understand this. If Earth is threatened again, your empires will vanish the same way, into nothing. Panic swept across the stars. Some worlds collapsed into riots, their people begging their rulers not to fight. Other worlds prepared desperate countermeasures, though none believed they would work. The council itself split apart. Half screamed for surrender, the other half for war. But no matter what they chose, the truth was clear. Nothing in the galaxy could match the null drive. Still, humanity did not move to conquer. That made it worse, because every empire now wondered, if humans had a weapon that could erase fleets without firing a shot, what else had they built in the dark? What else waited, hidden behind Earth's silence? On a hidden world, far from council eyes, alien generals met in secret. They swore they would not bow. They swore they would fight. But when their meeting ended, every one of their ships failed at the same moment. Engines silent, weapons dark, systems blind, and in the black sky above them, just for a heartbeat, the shadow of a human ship appeared, watching. Words spread like fire. Earth's message was clear. Nowhere was safe, no enemy hidden, no plan unseen, and the galaxy finally understood the truth. Earth had not revealed its power to boast. Earth had revealed it as a warning. The human message ended with one final line burned into every screen: do not test us again. And as the feed vanished, billions of hearts froze in terror, because deep inside they all knew the same thing. This was not humanity's full strength, this was only the beginning. The great council chamber had never looked so broken. Once, it was a hall of power filled with banners and light. Now the banners hung torn, the walls echoed with fear, and the leaders of the galaxy sat in silence, their eyes dark with despair. For weeks, every world had lived under the shadow of the human warning. The null drive had erased fleets, outposts had fallen silent, spies had vanished. And worst of all, humanity had done all this without moving a single army. Without conquering, without demanding tribute, only silence. But silence was louder than any war cry. At the center of the chamber, Chancellor Vaynar's empty seat remained. His betrayal had been exposed, his name cursed, his allies scattered. Yet even without him, the council was still divided. Half the leaders demanded surrender, the other half demanded war. No one trusted anyone, and every word spoken felt like the last before death. The High Speaker of the Zalari Dominion rose, his silver eyes flashing with desperation. If we do not unite, humanity will destroy us one by one. We must bring every empire, every fleet, every weapon together, strike Earth before they erase us all. His words echoed, but they trembled, because even he knew the truth. Fleets had already failed, weapons had already died, and Earth had not even shown its full strength. The Chiron ambassador stood next, his voice shaking. Strike Earth, he cried. You would doom us all. We must beg for peace. We must kneel if we must. Better slaves than ash. Shouts rose instantly. No, screamed the Targath warlord, slamming his blade against the floor. We are not slaves. Better to burn in battle than crawl at human feet. The chamber erupted in chaos, voices clashing like weapons. Some roared for surrender, others for defiance. But beneath it all, one truth united them: fear. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The council froze, hearts pounding. Every leader turned toward the ceiling, expecting the humans to appear again, but this time, no hologram came. Instead, a voice whispered through the chamber's speakers. Not loud, not angry, but cold and calm. You still believe you decide, the human voice said. But every word you speak, every plan you whisper, every thought you hide, we already hear it. The council. Erupted in panic, delegates shouted, some even ran for the doors, but the voice continued, steady as stone. You think you gather in secret, you think your walls protect you, but Earth has no need to. The galaxy trembled. Across every empire, across every star, the same words echoed, Earth has spoken. The image of the blue world still burned in the minds of every leader, every soldier, every citizen. Come if you dare. It was not a threat, not even a promise. It was a challenge. Some empires prepared fleets, others dug deeper into fear, but no one could escape the shadow of Earth's silence. Then, the waiting ended. The skies above a dozen alien capitals cracked open, not with fire, not with invasion, but with silence. Human ships appeared, only one above each world, not thousands, not armadas, just one, but that one was enough. On Zalari Prime, the largest alien fleet rose to meet the lone human vessel. Millions watched from the surface, their eyes fixed on the sky. The alien commander gave the order to fire. Beams of light, missiles, plasma storms filled the void, and yet, none of them touched the human ship. The weapons curved, bent, vanished into nothing, as if space itself protected Earth's vessel. Then, without a single shot fired, the Zalari fleet froze, engines silent, shields gone, weapons dark. The mighty armada became nothing more than drifting metal. The world below watched in horror, and in that silence, they understood. Resistance was not possible. On the war worlds of the Targath clans, warriors screamed their battle cries. They launched every weapon they had, but the human ship above their home shifted once, and in an instant, the Targath war machines were gone. Not destroyed, not broken, gone, erased like dust in the wind. The warriors fell silent, their cries turned to whispers of fear. In the Vaith Confederacy, the richest worlds of the stars, towers of gold trembled as the human ship hovered. The leaders tried to bargain, sending endless signals. We will pay tribute, we will bow, we will serve, but no reply came. The human ship did not. Oathing, and that silence was worse than death. Across the galaxy, the pattern was the same. One ship, one shadow, one silence, and every empire fell to its knees. Back in the council chamber, the leaders had gathered one last time. They sat in silence, faces pale, voices gone. The human projection returned. This time it was not the ambassador, not a diplomat. It was a commander, a man with eyes like steel and a voice that carried the weight of centuries. You thought Earth was weak, he said. You thought we were desperate. You thought peace was a chain we would accept. But now you see the truth. He raised his hand, and the projection shifted. The galaxy map appeared, stars glowing, one by one. Systems turned black, fleets erased, stations silenced. The council watched as their empires crumbled in real time, and the commander's voice thundered, calm yet final. Peace was shattered, not by us, but by you. You betrayed, you plotted, you laughed at our world. Now you will remember this. Humanity does not beg. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity does not forgive. His words carried like thunder across the chamber, and though they were only sound, they felt like weapons. The commander leaned forward, his eyes piercing into every alien soul. This is our final word. The galaxy will not be ruled by chains or lies. The galaxy will live in silence or respect. The choice is yours. And then for the first time, the humans revealed what no one had seen before. The fleet, not 10 ships, not hundreds, thousands, stretching across the stars like an endless storm, each glowing with the energy of the null drive. It was a sight no mind could comprehend. The galaxy gasped as one, because now they understood. Earth had never shown weakness. Earth had only shown mercy. The human commander gave the final line. Remember this day. Remember what happens when peace shatters. And Reem. Remember the name of the world you tried to break, Earth. The projection ended. The silence returned. But this silence was different. It was not the silence of fear alone. It was the silence of surrender, because the galaxy knew, from this day forward, the stars themselves belonged to humanity.